Hi folks, and welcome back to Fishing with Dan. Well, you ever seen one of these? This is a Deeper, that's the manufacturer. It's a fish finder. It's called a Chirp Plus, and it's the latest in sonar devices that you can put on the end of your rod and cast out. Weighs somewhere around 3.5–4 ounces, I think. And so I'm just going to use my method feeder rod, chuck it out on this pond and see what happens. Now, when I do it, it's going to connect to an app on the phone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually screen record from the phone, because you won't be able to see what's going on the app. And then when we come to actually doing the production of the video, I'll superimpose that screenshot on so you can see what's actually happening. Hope that all made sense. Anyway, what this thing does, you cast it out and it not only finds the depth, the contours, any snags or reed beds or anything like that, it also tells you where the fish are, or where they are at any given time and given position in time. That's all very well. Whether it works or not absolutely sure yet. I mean, I have used it a couple of times and I have seen what appears to be fish which show up as sort of longer marks on the screen, or in my case I've got it switched on so that it actually shows fish symbols. Anyway, I'm more interested in chucking it out and see what the depth of this pond is. Oh, by the way, it also gives you water temperature. So look, rather than sort of go into any more detail, why don't I just chuck this thing out there and then show you on the app. Just before I actually do cast the thing out, this is the pond we're at. Hardly anybody ever fishes it. Morris is with me today, and we only fish it very, very occasionally. And to be honest, we generally fish it with a pole or maybe a waggler. Now it's probably a good 300 or 400 meters to the far end over there, and I've got probably 6 feet of depth at about 11 meters. Anyway, I'll start casting the thing in and we can see how we go. Okay, so here we go. 12-foot rod. I'm using 8-pound line, which is Maximus, so that actually probably breaks it more like 10. And what I'm going to do is just give this a gentle cast out. As you see, that works quite well. Now I'm looking at the screen here and it's telling me, I'm just going to draw this in very slowly by the way, it's telling me at the moment we've got fish out there at 5.8 feet, 5.3 and 6.8 feet, and it seems like there's plenty of them. Probably I would suggest that's 7'9", 8 foot in depth, and they're at sort of 7 foot. They're about a foot or so off the bottom, and it looks like there's lots of them. Again, how accurate this is I don't know, but it does seem like there's an awful lot of fish down there. And I'm just reeling in very slowly, and as you can see, this is the bottom here. You probably can't see too well on the screen, but what it's telling me is that it's a flat bottom with no real weeds on it at this point, but plenty of fish as I come in. As I say, a bit skeptical with it showing all these fish, but it's actually getting a bit shallow now. I'm just probably 15 meters out, I suppose, and you can see now that the bottom is just shallowing up. There we go. Now in actual fact, that's around about where I was fishing with a pole, and I've had 4 fish on the pole. Then it comes up, and then I'm assuming that all this broken up stuff is some kind of weed growth, but you can also see the ups and downs and dips on the bottom. That's quite interesting. That must be some sort of weed growth, I assume. As I say, I'm no expert on this, but if I pull it over this weed growth down in front of me here, just there, I think there's a little bit of dots which I'll probably put an arrow on, but I think that's where that was. Now just going to cast out again. It's fairly straightforward, a little bit worrying, but just chuck it out a bit further. There we go. And again you can see how it drops. I've got 7.9 feet out there, and just drawing back in. Again, I've got 8 feet as we say. The fish seem to be 5 to 6 feet off the bottom. Some are on the bottom, about 6 inches off. Nothing seems to be above about 5 feet. And that pinging noise is where it can see fish, by the way. That is something you can turn off. And I'm now, the wind's blowing from right to left, so I'm probably more or less over where I was coming in before. So I'm going to reel in a bit quicker and cast further to the right. Obviously the wind's going to have an effect on today, but you can see I'm reeling in quicker now, and we can see that same bit of bottom there. Quite interesting though. I'm going to cast further to the right this time. That's a good probably 30-40 meters, and now you can see the drop off where it's come out of the water and gone back in again. You can see obviously where I pull it out there's a sharp drop off, and then it shows you again where it's hit. And as before, we've got exactly 7.8 feet, which is a few inches off 8 feet. Bottom's flat, lots of fish. How accurate, I honestly don't know. I mean, I've only had 4 fish and I've been here for 4 hours this morning, so this isn't a commercial water, it's a wild water, so again, I'm a little bit dubious of these fish indications. Just reeling in now to probably at 20 meters out, and all the fish seem to be at the same sort of level. Now I think there is a setting on this where I can take down the sensitivity a little bit, so I'm going to do that. Click back on main screen. Oh, hang on, there we go. Right, so see if we keep getting the indications. I could just have it set too sensitively, but it is quite good for giving me the depth and also the contours of the bottom. I'll do one more cast off to the right. Bit worrying casting £200 or £300 or $200 or $300 worth of kit into the water, so if I lose it you'll probably see Morris doing the filming and me going for a swim. Right, and now I'm showing a lot less fish now and only on the bottom, so oh, maybe not, there's a group of them there it would appear, and that's at 30 odd meters out. Interesting. I'm actually going to chuck a feeder out there shortly just to see if any of this rings right, because I'm not catching much on the pole. But I mean, look at that, that's showing me the same sort of flat bottom all the way out there. It's all about 8 feet deep and no real obstructions, but fish everywhere according to the Deeper sonar. And the only thing for it now really is to chuck a feeder out there and give it a go. Just coming back down onto the edge now, and there we go. Alright, oh, actually I'm going to have one more chuck. I'm going to see if I can get a bit further out. Okay. I have seen on Google Earth that this used to be a series of trenches years ago. I don't know if it was sort of aquaponics thing or something else, but there's a river or a stream over the back which does flow into it, and it does fill up from time to time when we have periods of flood. But it looks to me like there's nothing by way of those ridges that you'd expect. Okay, just pull back through. Lots and lots of fish. I may actually fish with a pop-up at some point just to see. But well, it's encouraging. Now all I've got to do is see if I can catch them. And we're just reaching the sort of 11 meter point now where I was fishing, and there's an odd fish on that sort of ridge, but I'm going to take this off now and just have a go properly with a feeder, see what happens. Well, that was interesting. How accurate it is, I don't know. I'd suspect that the depth is pretty much correct based on what I've seen with my pole. As for all the fish, I'm really going to reserve judgment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw out a feeder and just see if I can catch one. Let's just see what happens. So, what's the verdict on the Deeper Chirp Plus fish finder? Well, I did throw a feeder out there and had a few casts around with that, and certainly depth wise, yeah, that seemed about right. and I also reeled in very slowly, dragged the feeder along the bottom, and that felt pretty much the same as what was indicated on the screen too. As far as the fish icons go, I'm not very convinced. This isn't a commercial water, it's natural, and so that many fish all the way back, all at those same sort of depths, I don't know. Having said that, as I may have mentioned before, I've only used it 2 or 3 times, so I'm definitely not an expert, but I'm going to do a bit more research into the thing and just see what I can come up with. So I suppose the next question is, should you use one? Well, if you just fish commercials all the time, especially small commercials, I don't think they're all that much use to you. You probably can do just as much by plumbing around in the swim. Not only that, if you're chucking out a dirty great 3 or 4 ounce pike float effectively, it's probably going to upset people around you. Having said that, if you're on a bigger, more open water or a natural water, yeah, definitely. Especially if you've never fished it before, it can certainly give you a lot of insights into, as we've just said, the depth, the bottom, water temperature, any obstructions. So, yep, definitely has its uses. Will I use it again? Yes, I will occasionally, especially, as I say, on those venues which are deeper, wider and more unknown. But yeah, I think all in all, probably a good bit of kit. A little bit dubious of having to throw it out on the end of a line, and maybe I should have used £30 line, but well, it is what it is. I can always go for a swim. So anyway, that's the verdict so far on the Deeper Chirp Plus Fishfinder. Hope you found it useful. If you did, click the button. If you want to subscribe, you can do that. And until the next time, bye for now.